What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Steady, and this is going to be the Countdown to the Geekcast review of Halloween Kills. Joining me on this review episode is actually a couple of
It's
newcomers,
reflection, babe.
and we also have a returning guest. You know him as Nathaniel Peoples. What's going on, man?
How you doing? Thank you for having me back.
No problem, sir. And we also got a new guest on the show. He's a big Halloween guy. He's also a big horror movie guy. So we had to bring him on. What's up, Noah? How's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on, Ted? Thanks for having me, man.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Once again, this is the Halloween Kills review by the Geekcast. No spoilers just yet. If you haven't seen the movie, we're actually going to talk about non-spoiler stuff. So stick around, hear what we got to say, and then I'll be sure to drop a warning before we get into some really serious plots and storylines. So we will also want to hear from you. So if you're checking out this video, let us know what you thought about Halloween Kills, the third movie in this new Halloween timeline, if you will, and drop it in the comments. You can also email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com. All right, no spoilers right now. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna talk about it right here, and then we'll get into some spoilers later on. But gentlemen, my first question is gonna be to both of you guys. Noah, let's start with you, man. Since you're the new guy, the newcomer here, give us your general thoughts, your overview about Halloween Kills.
Well, I thought Halloween Kills overall was a fairly decent movie. It definitely lives up to its name, Halloween Kills. It's pretty graphic.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of a change from probably the original Carpenter, and then the second one was a little violent, but this one's definitely a little bit more violent. But overall, I think it was a decent film. It may be hard for some newcomers to kind of get into because there's a lot of kind of flashbacks and scenes, and I've heard that as a couple complaints about the film. But overall, I thought it was a fairly decent film. I think it needed to happen in order to kind of complete the storyline. This part, needed to happen. There's a lot of little things within this film that will probably, be explained a little bit more in depth in Halloween Ends here next year.
Absolutely. And there's actually going to be a few things that they retconned, right? So we'll talk about that too during our spoiler discussion. But a few elements of the kind of the original movie that they changed in order to kind of make this one work. Peoples, let's go to you next, man. Give us your general thoughts about Halloween Kills.
Well, I'm a big fan of Mike Myers. Like a huge fan. Compared to what they come out with, I say it's for me, if I were to put it, it's probably the fourth greatest, if you will, after the first one that just came out back in 18, I believe.
All right,
Um,
right.
compared because I'm not a fan of the Rob Zombies. I mean, the first one was okay because Rob Zombie gave the backstory of his childhood and his what he went through in the institution and all that. But
First one's
I'm not
okay,
a
yeah.
yeah, I'm not a fan of the Rob Zombie version. So anything, I mean, all the ones with Jamie Lee Curtis, my favorite. Anything outside of her, not a fan of.
Except
You know,
Resurrection.
Yeah, that's the
I did not
Who
mind
was
that one. I actually
who
liked
was in
that
that one? Oh,
one. I ain't gonna
oh,
lie to you. Like, I
we
mean,
should probably talk about our overall slate at the end, but yeah, that one. There you go.
yeah. But I mean, overall, I loved the movie. I enjoyed it. I can definitely see myself watching it more than 3 times just because I'm a fan and I did enjoy it highly.
Awesome, man.
I like the twist they gave to it. Just the the theme of it that they gave to it. It was a different direct from, like he said, John Carpenter's. So
Yeah,
less silent, more loud, and I actually liked it.
I agree. I agree. I kind of follow similar points from you guys, piggyback off you guys. It's a worthy sequel. I thought that there was actually a lot of really good things that this movie did. Death scenes really graphic. Deaths overall, there was a lot of them. A lot
Brutal.
of good takeaways from it, and then yet there were still some bumps in the road, some speed bumps in the road for me, if you will. Some kind of things that made me scratch my head, like, did you really got to do that? Did you really have to do it that way? You know, I kind of heard from a few folks that it was more of a comedy than a horror film. I was like, damn it, come on. Like, you don't
I
want
don't
to.
agree. I don't agree, but
Neither do I.
continue.
I just don't want movie directors, writers to kind of play with that line. Like, you really need to stay far on the horror side and stick
Hmm.
away from the cheesiness. But overall, I did like the movie. I will say a lot that I liked. I would probably more prefer the 2018 one. That kind of felt more like a more cohesive movie from start to finish. This one, while still great, still a lot of great things. I'd still put it behind that the 2018 one, and I think with this trilogy they'll probably end it on a really high note, and so I'm really looking forward to the next one. But this one was still good overall. I recommend it. People should watch it. As far as scariness goes, probably not one of the more scarier Halloween films. It's probably like towards the bottom of that range, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that they went for a very specific tone for the film, and it wasn't all based on jump scares and wasn't really based on tension. Like, you knew who was going to die pretty quickly. And
Hmm.
that's just what went down. So yeah, now let's get into the story a little bit, and this is the part of the show where I let you know, spoiler warning, spoiler territory from here on out, and we're gonna talk all about the storyline and spoil the beginning, middle, and end. So if you haven't seen it, pause this video right now, go check out Halloween Kills in theaters. Or if you watch it like I did on the Peacock streaming app, and you can just watch in the comfort of your home. But it's a good thing to go ahead and start our discussion, our spoiler discussion, with how this movie opened. We find Officer Hawkins. He actually lives. He survived. He had been stabbed by the Doctor Sartain,
Mania, yeah, I think it was the name.
right? Sartain from the first one.
Hmm.
Fantastic twist, throwing in
Yes, it
sort of
was.
another antagonist in a Halloween film. Blew my mind. Right? Tremendous. And Officer Hawkins actually survives his wounds and gets found and transported to a hospital. But he immediately starts taking sort of responsibility, and we don't know why the movie opened this way, but flashback to 1978, and we kind of take off from the end of the original Halloween film. This was really interesting. We saw a very quick glimpse of it in the trailer, and I really appreciated this. But this is how the new ending of 78 goes. Michael actually leaves the house that Lori was in. He goes back to the Myers house, and he confronts these two cops. Um, Hawkins is actually the younger one,
The
rookie cop,
rookie.
who has the worst shot, almost the worst shot in the movie. There's actually one other person that has a worse, even
Yeah.
even more worse shot. We'll talk about in a second. But Hawkins actually shoots his partner, and then we see this is where Michael gets arrested. He gets confronted by like a dozen cops, and we get a glimpse of a Loomis, of the Loomis character, which I didn't know how much we would get. It was just enough. It was just enough to
To
bring all,
satisfy.
just to satisfy you, bring all those nostalgic feelings back. The
Yeah.
voice, the look, it
Perfect.
felt so real.
The tension.
Got a little emotional seeing Loomis up there because Donald
Yes,
Pleasance is such a gem to this franchise.
it is.
But I'll ask you guys now. We got this opening and this flashback to start the movie out. What were your thoughts around this point? Were you already engaged and surprised that they actually started with a flashback? Peoples, we'll start with you, man.
I actually wasn't too surprised they started with a flashback because you know it it added some spice to it
All right.
because I know they didn't really do it in the Halloween in 2018,
Yeah.
and when I seen in the previews that they was bringing a lot of people back from the original, that touched my heart. It truly did. Like, you know what I'm saying? Lori's the kids she babysitted, you know what I'm saying? The
Yeah,
doctors.
Domino. Yeah,
Like it was just, even the homeboy, he had his little encounter where he fell on the sidewalk, and he had his little encounter with Michael Myers, and I just, that touched home for me because I thought that was just great. So I expected flashbacks when they brought old characters back. Um, and I thought it gave it a nice touch to the movie. I mean, of course, that flashback with Hawkins in the house and all that, it threw me off at first. I was like,
sure.
I don't remember this, like this, because it didn't lead into the second one.
You're
You know,
right.
yeah, like I was like, but I ran with it, because like you said, it was a twist until after I guess the ending of the first one, they gave it a little twist. So I was like, I guess I'll take that.
Yeah,
Because you gotta try to make the movie make sense somehow. You gotta give and take what you can in order to make it make sense. And I think they did a pretty good job in containing it pretty well with the backstory.
yeah,
So I did expect that, but uh, as
absolutely.
far as the shot, as far as the shot, I must say
Oh man,
he probably has the worst shot in the movie for me.
it
I was
wasn't.
highly, I was upset. Like
It
I
wasn't
truly was.
only like missing him and hitting your partner, but then like missing him walking out of the room,
That's
missing
what
him
did it,
walking down the stairs twice.
right?
I'm like,
Like this
bruh,
guy is just
how did you get this job?
And he's
this
walking.
guy's just
He's
walking.
not
He's
running.
just not even he didn't run. He didn't power walk
He's not
fast pace.
dodging us.
He just strolling along like, all right, I ain't worried about this guy, and he's still missing. Like it blew my mind. Like I was upset. So he is the worst shooter in that movie.
There you go. There you go. No, what about you? What about you, man? How did this opening? What did this opening do for you?
Uh, I didn't expect the flashback from the get go, but I did have a little bit of an idea that the sheriff was still going to be alive because I watched the 2018 movie again and I was like, there's no way that this guy got killed by a little pin blade that he had. He's got to live.
Yeah,
Um, he's much more important to the story. So I was right. He did end up living. Um, and the flashback, it did take me by surprise. I love the way it was shot. Um, it really had a really gritty feel, almost like another 1978 version. Um, feel to it for me. Costume design looked great. I loved when his partner started saying that he actually knew Michael and he grew up with him when he was a kid, and he was one of those kids that would pull the wings off of butterflies just to kind of see them, and he would stare outside his sister's window all the time,
that was
just
pretty
staring
cool.
out. And so that is a little bit of a point. I was like, okay, I need to take that because this is going to be more important later on in the story. And when they actually get into Judith's room, the footprints are right there, looking uh,
Right,
out of the window. So I'm like, okay,
right.
they're solidifying it again. Remember this. This is going to be important later on in the film or in the franchise, most likely. Um, and then when Michael jumped out and grabbed his partner, um, and yes, very terrible shot. Um, Ended up hitting his partner, runs out, and he's surrounded by cops. So I thought it was a really great start. It was unexpected for myself, but I thought it was great. It was shot great, looked great. Mike looked great.
Yes.
Nick Castle actually was the shape at that point in the flashbacks, which was great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I loved it. Loved everything about it. The opening scene, and I thought, okay, when are we going to get back to the Laurie Strode in the back of the truck, and everybody's been complaining about the firefighters and first responders online and signing the petition. When are we going to see that? And so, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was
Uh,
very interesting. I loved it.
It's good to actually go back, and I had to do this before watching this movie. Go back and watch the ending of the original '78 film because
Go ahead.
that is canon. Everything after '78, Halloween 2 on, none of that's canon, right? So what happens at the end of 78? I wanted to go back and make sure I was in the right mind space of what happened at the end of 78. Um, Mike gets his mask pulled off by Lori. She actually had stabbed him in the neck. Actually got a mask here with a little dot on the neck. That was a great detail. And Loomis, who shows up at this house, he sees little Tommy Doyle screaming running out of this house, his house, whatever. Loomis runs in. He actually shoots Michael. He shoots at him 5 or 6 times. I don't know how many of those hit, but I would say the majority of those probably hit. He got to have been hit 4 or 5 times. Falls off the second story balcony and then vanishes into thin air. So by this point, at the beginning of this movie, in this flashback, Michael's been stabbed in the neck. He's been shot in the face at least once because his eye's gone, right? And then there's another 4 or 5 bullets in him at this point by the time he gets
Well,
arrested by these cops. Was that?
actually, his eye is gone because
Coat
she
hanger.
stabbed him. Yeah, the
That's
closet
right.
hanger. She closet. Hey, I thought that was great detail because
Yep.
he kept that eye in the 18 version, and I thought that
Yes.
was great. Thought it
I
was
al-
great.
I also love that in this movie you never see his face, even though there's a
Hmm.
good portion of it where he doesn't have his mask on,
Yeah.
and they always keep him blurred out in the
Hmm.
background. They're always hiding it.
Yeah.
And to Noah's point, I really hope they're building up more of this standing in the window business, because it feels like it should lead to something bigger than how it worked into this story, um,
That's
which
where
is
he's
fine.
gonna die.
But hey, that actually would be a pretty dope thing. And
Hmm.
Noah's saying he already has that thought too.
It starts there and it ends there.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you
So yes, there's definitely something to it.
There's gonna be a Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, a Laurie
Hawkins, right?
Strode. Laurie Strode. You know what? Probably it may have Hawkins in there, because Hawkins said it. He need to be the one to kill him. Laurie Strode says
Everybody
she need to be the one. Yeah, I know, right?
Karen's like, "I'm gonna be the one to kill him." Like, little
The
Karen's daughter,
daughter,
Allison's like,
right?
"I'm gonna be the one to take him
I
out."
know, right? And
Everybody's got something. Everybody's got beef with Michael.
exactly. So
Let's fast forward to how the 2018 movie ended, with the Strode house in a blaze and Michael locked into the basement. Um, one of the things I praise a lot about with the 2018 version. I did we have you on the 2018? We might have had Elliot on that review.
yeah, I wouldn't.
Um, I think it was Elliot on that review. One of the things I praised about in the 2018 version was how innovative it was, and so Strode setting up like this mouse
Mm-hmm.
deal in her house was pretty dope. And the one thing I always loved about Myers was the dude's freaking crafty. He's
Yes,
smart. He's crafty as fuck. And so like not knowing how he would ever get out, but then you see these firefighters cave in the first floor, making that
mhm,
opening. But Myers is already like kind of planned this out. He's like, I'm gonna barricade myself in this gun rack. I'm gonna
and I
be
thought that
okay.
was so amazing.
And
I
I'm
Yeah,
like,
did.
dude, this dude is crafty.
Like, when
Like
I
he
seen that,
definitely
bro,
think.
I was like, when I seen that, like, I was watching it with my fiance, and when I seen it, bro, when he opened it, I would lie to you not, that's probably like a terrifying moment for me, because if I would have fell down there, turn my help beeper on, like, "Hey, I'm down here," and I seen that thing pop open, this dude standing there, like, I would have probably had a heart attack, bro, because
Oh, about
that's impressive, bro. Like, this guy thought to hide in there, and I was
dude,
just telling, who was I telling? I think I was telling, Valise.
probably.
I was telling him, like, "Hey, everybody think Mike was just like this killer who just goes around, just little bitty boy in a man's body, but this dude is intelligent." You
He
know what I'm
is.
saying? He's intelligent,
Totally
bro. I
is.
promise you. They don't think
Dude,
about this dude don't just kill. He thinks. He's like a great white, you know what I'm saying? Like, where they actually
absolutely.
think. You know what I'm saying? Like how they way down in the deep of the water where you can't see them, and next you know they come up underneath you and bah. You're like,
Gone.
whoa, you know what I'm saying? It's just the dude's a great white and jumping in waters, bro.
There you go. Yeah. Tremendous scene. So right there, it shows you again, they know this character. He's crafty as hell. I
Hmm.
always revert back to I think it was Halloween. I think it's Halloween 4, might be 4. I think it's 4 where little Jamie Lloyd is with Loomis, and they're in this one building, and they're trying to like hide out, and they're surrounded by cops. Well, Michael like sets off a fire like blocks away to get all the cops away from that location, and to have Loomis and little Jamie Lloyd there just by themselves. And I'm
Hmm.
like, that dude's smart as hell. It's like the Lex Luthor of serial killers, man.
Right? Truly, he is.
No, it gives you thoughts about this fire scene, man, and all these deaths. This entire like firehouse of firefighters. I'm not gonna tell you guys how many, but I counted, and I think I have a pretty good number of how many went down. But what are your thoughts about this sequence?
So a lot of my friends had seen the film and they were like, "How's this guy survive? You know, the entire house is going to burn down." I said, "He's hiding somewhere," and they're like, "Where is he hiding?" And I said, "I don't know where he's hiding, but I know he's hiding somewhere. There's got to be somewhere in there that he's hiding." And sure enough, the gun rack opens up. I was like, "Oh my god, yes,
Dude,
perfect spot to hide when everything is, ablaze. Is this gun rack or gun storage area?" So yes, it was one of the moments for me. I was like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" Uh, and then yeah, it just leads into the first responder helping him out, and he comes out of the house. There's water pouring down. It's just like one of the best scenes, like visually. The
Hmm.
flames are right above his head, and you can just tell that this guy's ready to do business. I was almost thinking
Yeah.
like he was gonna use that little pitchfork thing and just slap it in his hand a couple times, and then he just went to work essentially, taking them out one by one. I did like that they were rather short with like his killing. They didn't make it into like almost like a night fighting. Ting ting ting, like that would have been terrible.
that would have been horrible.
It looked like
Hmm.
firefighters were ready to do business too. Like you were seeing them clutch onto their axes. The guy like cranks up the chainsaw thing. Um, but obviously they were no match for Mr. Myers, and he just made easy work out of each of them. Um, Pretty brutal, but very good shot overall. Um, yeah, it was awesome.
It's beautifully shot. I still
Hmm.
love him walking out of that house with the
Yes.
entire thing around him just all ablaze. And I don't know what these firefighters are thinking. Like, you see this dude walk out of a house on fire. He's clearly not in any distress whatsoever. Like, it's time to go. Like, start running. It's time to get out of there. Especially with homeboy, like trying to shoot him with like the hose, and it's like not phasing him at all. It's like,
Hey,
bro,
he just
drop the
walked right
hose,
through, bro.
drop the hose, and get the hell out. What's wrong with you, bro?
I was upset at that point. That's one of the moments I was upset because I was like, bro, like, are these guys not like? I understand you're not police, you're not trained, but to just take
Sure.
on fire. But it's common sense to gang bang a person when he just coming at you. But instead, of course, everybody run up one at a time. Hey, you go ahead. He didn't make it. All right, you next.
Macho,
It's
macho.
two down. You know what I'm saying? I'm the only one left. I'm going in. Like, why wouldn't they all just, what I'm saying? Like a pack of wolves, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But everybody just went and died one on one, and everybody else just watched. Like, all right, well, I guess I'm dying next. Like,
Yeah.
come on now. So I was upset
Guess
about
it's
that,
my
but
time. I guess it's my time.
I'm gonna go after him, and you can go after me. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, man.
So,
Um,
I mean, but the water falling, I actually made that my background to my phone where he's
oh,
standing
hell
on the
yeah.
porch. It was just a beautiful moment where you had to admire the scene, man. Like it was just, and when I seen that, I was like, "Yo, this dude is pissed." Like he looked so mad. Like, all right, this chick just shot me. They stabbed me, locked me in the basement to burn. Where's
Little
she at?
girl cut my hand. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like she cut my hand. Like, hey,
And then
get out my way.
Lori chopped off a finger, right? He should be missing at least a pointer
Shot
Yeah, he
finger.
was missing 3 of 'em.
the shotgun.
He was
Blew off
yeah,
fingers.
The shotgun.
his
Ooh,
hand was like this, like, he only had these 2 fingers.
man.
And I
Yeah,
don't
so
know if you noticed, but he had it
oh,
wrapped up like he was
Yeah, he
doing,
did.
like
He wrapped it up.
yeah, like he was doing Medicaid on himself.
Yeah.
dude, smart. This is a smart dude, man.
Mhm.
Smart dude. Yeah. So we actually go from there, and I'm just gonna call out some of the more like highlighted death scenes. He actually takes out a couple of neighbors, unfortunately. Sandra and her husband, who are just watching some TV, making some dinner, whatever they're doing at their crib next to Laurie Strode, and unfortunately, they got it really bad.
Yeah,
Um, Homeboy got his head beat a few times, got like the entire uh, what's it called? CVC knife set that they bought online got thrown into his back, and
my favorite part, I won't lie.
Sandra got one of those fluorescent bulbs right through the neck and had to watch her husband die. So like really graphic, but like how they started that out with the light going on in the bathroom, Michael kind of bashing it, and then going to work from there. Really graphic, but I thought it was shot really well. And it's one thing to like have Michael going around killing random people, but it elevates the scene when you're sort of with the couple or with the victims for a minute. You need to feel something. It can't just be going around killing red shirts in Star Trek like left and right. You actually need to kind of have a little bit of a knowledge of these characters. So we're actually feeling really bad for these innocent this innocent couple who just got ambushed in the home. But overall, I thought that was really done and it really kind of was really dramatic.
Mhm.
I agree. I think there is something behind the overkill when she puts the husband up on the countertop and then just starts stabbing. I don't think it's random. I think he's doing a pattern. So
Ooh,
so I think there's going to be more to that because he just doesn't do anything just to do it.
well, we
Mike
never
always,
see it.
yeah. So you don't see the above shot, but he's doing it in a certain pattern. I don't know if they're going to bring the thorn theory in,
God, I hope
where
not.
he's doing like a thorn symbol on there. I don't know, but that he doesn't do anything just to do it. There's always purpose behind his posing of the bodies, or so there's something to it that we may find in Halloween Kills if they stumble upon this couple and they come in and they're like, oh my god, what is this? It's an idea. It's an idea.
I think he's just stabbing in with all the people he's mad. He's like, this knife is for Lori.
You know,
This
like,
knife is for Darren.
and for
This
me, I
knife is
think,
for
that he
Allison.
was just like, he was mad. Like I said, dude was pissed, so I think he was letting out I think it was his way of letting out that anger that he's filled with. Because, I mean, usually he just you can't tell if he mad or not. He just goes and does his thing. Like they say, he doesn't feel anything, no emotion, nothing like that. He just does what he does.
Yeah.
But in that moment after that, like when he stood on that porch, bro, you can tell he had a vendetta. So when he found her after he killed those cops, bro, he had to go take out. I don't think he was wanted to. I don't know if he wanted to kill them because he was in the well, they probably gonna die anyway. But he was in the restroom patching up, I believe. Cause you hear like little bottle tops falling and whatnot. And dude turned on the light. He was upset, like, "Hey, bro,
God
I'm
damn it.
trying to do my thing in here. Do you gonna knock first? You know what I'm
You
saying?"
get
So,
some privacy?
and so I think, you know, he just, for one, he set the lady up to watch. So I think he was just doing that to have her watch. And you can see when he hit him with like the third knife, he was like, "You know what I'm saying? I think that looks kind of good. Hey, did you see that?" You know what I'm saying? And he also could have just been measuring knives because he don't just take the little
Chef.
knife. Yeah, like he was hitting him with knife. I don't like that one. Bah, nah, I'm not really feeling that one. That one don't feel right in my hand. This one, the big one, looks like that one. I like that one. I'm gonna go with this one. You know
You
what
know
I'm
what?
saying?
You might be onto something. Maybe he's testing out the knives, right? Oh, this one cuts really well. This one's a little dull.
Right.
This one has a nice weight to it.
Right.
Yeah, because he's
This one went in
walking.
kind of easy. I like that.
His next victim is going to be one of the teenagers, Dennis, who gets an off-screen kill, but Michael's holding that knife, so he actually brings that knife with him. So yeah, that's actually probably maybe that's what he's doing. He's actually trying to figure out like, which one am I going to take? Which one of these bad boys is going to work for me?
Yeah.
So yeah,
He's picky.
that's pretty awesome. Um, what I found interesting is this movie didn't want to leave anything to the imagination around Lori. Like if you were actually watching during the surgery, I'm just calling this out because I'm like, they're really not trying to leave any plot holes. The doctor laid everything out during her surgery. He's like, "Oh, she's gonna survive. Um, we're gonna leave her wound loosely stapled because later on in the movie it's actually gonna open up again."
Hmm.
And he goes, "She'll be fine. She's just gonna be a little sore." Like they're just spelling every single thing out. That way you can't be like, "How was Lori walking around after she just got like stabbed multiple times by Michael Myers?" And it like doesn't matter. They lay it all out in the surgery thing so that you have zero questions about Lori through the rest of this film. She'll be fine. She'll just be really really sore after her surgery, even though it was a major surgery. Yeah, just a
Hmm.
little bit of soreness is all it is. But she also takes like the shot later on to kind of get over that and
Yeah.
stuff, even though it doesn't last very long. Um, let's see here. Oh, so I mentioned off-screen kill with one of those snobby teenagers that were pulling pranks on people, which I thought
Mm.
was pretty dope. Great prank. I didn't know people were
Yes, it
still
was.
putting razor blades in candies, but yeah, I was like, hey, it's a pretty badass prank. And then we actually lose a bunch of the OG cast that people was talking about earlier. So this next, we kind of go through a whole list of things. They have a whole introduction of Tommy in this new timeline. In catching up with him and Marion, like all these people are together
Hmm.
because it's the anniversary. It's Halloween night, and so, they're at a club and they're at a bar and they're talking about it. This is all just to get you caught up on these characters. And again, instead of Michael going around killing no-name people, we're actually meant to kind of engage with these people again, engage with these characters, understand where their heads at, understand their feelings and their emotions. That way, their deaths have more of an impact on us. They're not just no-name people that are just suffering the consequences. But one of the next scenes, the nurse and the doctor, who live on Myers Road, who were actually in the first film, who missed him, luckily, weren't so lucky this time around because Marion gets stabbed. Homeboy, I think his name was Marcus, gets a knife in the eye, probably one of the worst deaths, in my opinion. And then his nurse wife, who has a
My
Glock,
favorite death.
a Glock or something on her, and she's like literally outside the car at one point with this gun, decides to shoot him from like 30 yards away, missing absolutely everything multiple times, except Michael kicks open a door and she finds herself with the barrel in her face. So she actually shot something. Unfortunately, it was herself. That's actually my pick for worst shooter in the movie is the nice nurse lady. What did you guys think about this sequence? No, start with you, man.
It was a nice callback to the '78 with jumping over the car and
Hmm.
breaking the windshield with
Absolutely.
the hand, pulling the hair. Uh, so it was a really good callback. Um, when the nurse like runs out of bullets, as Mike's like basically face to face with her. I was like, oh my god, this one's for Loomis. And then click, 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 click. I was like, oh man,
Marion, yeah,
she's gonna get it bad, and she did. Um,
real bad. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. Scene, good callback to the original '78 with the car scene. Um, the kids with the masks, a good kind of nod to Halloween 3 with
absolutely.
the Shamrock mask. I thought that was really cool. Um, but yeah, I think overall the scene was good, well paced. Kyle Richards, who's the forget her character name. What's it? Lindsay Wallace.
Lindsay, yeah, Lindsay.
Yeah, kind of getting prepared, loading the candy bag full of bricks, uh, gonna face off against Michael. Um, she did fairly well, and it was actually very interesting. When she started to pull his mask off, is that's what irritated him. It wasn't
Right?
the bricks to the head; it
Hmm.
was messing with his mask, and then he released her, and then she was able to make her escape. But very interesting that the mask is something that kind of plays into a factor a little bit later in the movie. But I think that this was like kind of that first little hint of how important this mask, or maybe masks in general, are to Mike.
Yeah, and they like you said, they kinda went back to it a few times. I have one thing that probably the first, like, red flag or, just thing to make you go, "Hmm," happened at the end of the scene where Michael's walking across this bridge over the creek in the opposite direction of Lindsay Wallace. Yet the next time we come to this scene is with Tommy Doyle, Lonnie, and Allison and Cameron, and all the bodies have now been like put on display as if Michael decided to like double back and like set up this whole like nativity scene with all these silver shamrock masks on. I was just like, so the dude left and then he came back just to kind of put all this up. I'm like, I mean, it's I'll go with it, but if you show him like walking away from Lindsay and his footsteps are getting more and more faint, like it kind of makes you think like she's out of harm's way, even though he came back to like put up this whole diorama. uh, do you feel the same way, Peoples, or not really a big deal to you?
I mean, I thought the same thing. Like, hey, when does this guy come back and have time for this?
Thank you,
Like,
thank you. I was
man, I thought the exact same thing. And
not a big
because
thing, but yeah.
yeah, and so I was like, because throughout the movie, you see him messing with these bodies. They either not there, or he positioned them in a certain way, or he
Right.
just left them how they were. Like the firefighters, he just left those guys. And then how he did the couple next door, position a black woman, to watch her husband get just brutalized, which he killed him on the floor already, but he
Yep.
dragged him to the kitchen, slammed him on the counter, and what I'm saying, hit him about 7 knives.
Pincushion.
And then, bodies missing. Like it was a moment in the movie where, the bodies was gone. And, it's just but speaking on the scene, like Noah said, I love the nostalgia it gave me from when he first in the 78 film or 60, whatever it was, where
78.
he
You're right. You're right.
yeah, he jumped on the vehicle and the hand smacked the windshield and he grabbed her just like he grabbed her then. Thought it was awesome. And this is one of Mike's another intelligent moment for him where you think he's just a killer, but he counted the bullets. He knew what kind of gun she had, knew it only had 6 rounds, knew when to
Yeah.
step right in front of her, and then click. Okay, I already knew what's up. I'm gonna go ahead and take you out. You know what I'm saying? Like my favorite death scene in the movie was when he kicked the door on Homegirl. Another intelligent moment where he knew that she had when she about to pull the trigger, because she clearly missed 10 shots walking up. And he was like, all right, she just bought it. Go ahead, kick this door open. She walked close enough and bah! My favorite death scene. I actually wanted her to die because she escaped the car. She ran 30 yards,
Yeah.
waited for everybody to die, and then came back. It's
Jesus, man.
like it's like, were you debating on trying to save him? Like, I was highly upset that she just left her husband.
Yep.
You know
Right?
what I'm
What you
saying?
doing today? Yeah.
And this guy just watched the old lady get murdered and then try to choke him with a stethoscope.
Like,
Like he deserved the knife in the eye because that was just retarded. Like,
absolutely. You weren't gonna do nothing with that. Come on
right?
now.
Hey, how Mike looked at him,
Yeah, yeah.
he just looked like, man, what are you doing?
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? Let me show you how it's done. And so, I just thought that was, they deserved it in my opinion. Not the old lady, not the nurse, but the other two, yeah. And
There you go.
homegirl, Lindsay. took time. Everybody over there dying. She took time to empty a candy bag, fill it with bricks. Everybody's dead. Then she goes over to try to fight the battle by herself. Just not a bright moment right there either. So the
No,
whole scene was just full of not so smart people.
there you
And
go.
and like he said, like I thought, her taking off the mask was pretty smart of her because I think she knew that it would allow her to escape. Because he's big on the mask, and I think he knew. I think she knew in her mind, like, let me take this off. That way, I think she understood how much meaning this mask had meant for, what I'm saying, Michael and his, I guess, sanity or whatever you want to call his world that he's living in.
It's definitely possible because I mean, it's been 40 years. They all know the Jamie story. I'm sure she's told them before, so they
Yeah.
probably know every single detail, every single thing that happened. If I was Marion, why am I ever riding in a passenger seat in any vehicle ever again? Like after he I'm in the front seat, passenger seat, and I'm getting my head ripped out of the side in '78. I'm never riding in another passenger seat of a vehicle ever again. I'm gonna sit in the back. I'm gonna sit in the driver's seat. I'm never sitting in that seat again. I have way too
Yeah.
much trauma. I don't know why she's doing that, but it's all good. Yeah, fun scene. The nurse kill was definitely the funniest of the movie,
Yeah.
and every now and then I guess you need that funny kill. It happens. It happens in a lot of horror movies. It's kind of a trope. If I don't have one, I'm actually fine with that. I actually don't need the funny one
Hmm.
all the time, but I understand why they kind of threw that in there. My son AJ actually he laughed too loud, in my opinion. I was like, "Hey, you're killing my mood right now. Quit it with the laughing." He wouldn't
Right.
stop. He was laughing his ass off.
This isn't a joke.
Isn't yeah. This part of the movie has a subplot going on. We find out that there's actually another patient from the institution that escaped the crashed bus scene that Sartain wrecked in order to release Michael. And he's actually getting, misidentified as Michael Myers. And there's this whole subplot with Karen trying to save him. The townspeople, very reminiscent of, I believe it's Halloween 5, where sort of the community around
Hmm.
Haddonfield started banding together, driving around in Halloween 5 looking for
Yeah.
Michael in order to take him out. You know what? Maybe it was 4.
Four.
I know.
It was
It was.
4.
You
It was
sure it's
4.
for?
It's 4, yeah.
That's right. It was. I
It's
forgot it.
4 because he finds this, like, gopher hole that he goes into
Yeah.
to escape the explosion, and then,
Crawls
yeah.
into the river, Virginia. Yeah, whatever.
Absolutely. So it is absolutely 4. So this is a very reminiscent of Halloween 4, where the townspeople sort of are riding around with their pitchforks and their torches trying to find Michael. And that also resulted in sort of a innocent death. Oh man, you guys are gonna like this. My phone just died. Sorry, my camera just died. Let me see if I can get back on here. Give me a second. I'm gonna talk while I'm doing this.
There we go. Respect.
Uh, so this is very reminiscent of 4, where they go around looking for him, and in this one, this also results in the death of an innocent. In 4, they actually shot, like, I think, some neighborhood kid, and in this one, we see that this patient, this other patient from the institution, unfortunately kills himself, and that really does a number on um, that really does a number on Tommy from that point forward. Do either you gentlemen need this subplot? Does it take sort of you out of the general mood of the rest of the film, or are you all for it? Noah, we'll start with you, man.
If I had to give criticism, I think that this was probably the criticism I would give to the film. I didn't really think it needed that. I thought it was a little forced, a little cheesy at times when Tommy Wallace is like, "It ends tonight. It ends tonight." Like I was like, okay, like we get it, guy. You obviously know that this guy that looks like the penguin with his umbrella is not 6'4" Michael Myers.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little silly. I don't know if it was the Hollywood kind of like trying to, feed in a little bit of, I don't know, social stuff that's going on. It seemed a little forced to me. I didn't care for it.
Peoples, what are you, man?
I mean, likewise. I mean, I think they forced it in to extend the movie, to give it some more runtime. Um, I don't think it was. I definitely don't think it was necessary. I think they gave it. I think they tried to throw it in there to, I guess, extend the plot and like I guess try to make it. They needed a reason to make the people, or I guess, how should I say, give the plot to where make people feel guilty and make them realize that Michael's making them become, what I'm saying, like just crazy because they, had them take an innocent life. Like, I mean, one, he was in a, I don't know. It never stated if he killed anybody for one. It just said he was in a mental institution. But I'm pretty sure he killed somebody, you know. Um,
Probably so, yeah.
and I mean, they made him seem like this innocent, childlike type of guy. And you got the daughter trying to rescue this guy, trying to give her a little heroism by trying to save this guy. And it's like, for him to go jump out a window, it was just too much. And I even couldn't take Tommy serious in this movie. And that was just one of his cheesy moments, like, "Yeah, it's tonight, blah blah blah." I was just like, it's like, all right, this guy's getting a little too much for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for him to have that type of influence on the people, like this guy came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? He got this much influence. What, he's a governor all of a sudden, and it's like everybody listened to him over who was that dude? The mayor of the town.
That's a sheriff. That's a new sheriff.
Oh, the sheriff, and then like
Yeah,
everybody rather
Judge
listen to
Baker.
Tommy than the sheriff. It's like,
Mark.
come on now. So I don't know. They kind of just do that together to me, and it kind of just ruined the movie for me. Not the movie, but that plot was definitely unnecessary, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. I put it like that.
I think we can hear you, Ted.
All right, you guys hear me? Hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, you could probably gonna have to lead that up, huh? That's cool.
I think so. Hang on, hang on. Um, I don't want to, but I think I have to.
That's gonna be your microphone. The other one's gonna be your camera. You good?
I wish this would work out. Let me see. Let me try this. All right, you guys can hear me still?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm in the same boat as you guys. I didn't need the subplot, but I know what they were going for, right? Because we had seen this in Halloween 4, and
Hmm.
I think there's still a better way to do this. I would say you can probably have the community go into a frenzy, like a chaos, and I know that's what they're trying to do. It's not always about Michael sneaking around, and the only people that know that he's doing these things are his victims. So I do like that he's having an impact on the community, that
Hmm.
everybody's there's just utter chaos, and it's all because of him. I want to see what that looks like, but I want Michael to still have the upper hand, if you will. People going out looking for him, but him really kind of outthinking, outsmarting, outmaneuvering folks. I kind of still want to see a lot of that happening. So even though we didn't, even though we got a little bit of that towards the end, I saw what the writers were going for, trying to go back and capture some of those Halloween 4 moments, and
Hmm.
then take it even further by showing an innocent death. It's rough. It's rough. I don't need it though. You
Yeah.
you don't need it. But now that we're past it, I don't think they're gonna try that again. You tried it once, whether it hits or misses, we can move on from that. All right.
I think it would have worked if they would have got somebody who actually physically, like appearance wise, look like Michael. Like where you would actually be like, maybe that could have been a guy, but not this 5'2" little. Clearly, he got punked in school where it just clearly this description was way off, and for them to like really try to go after this guy like he was it, that was just it made it unrealistic completely. Like he fit no description of Michael. A
Yeah,
woman could have fought that guy, you know what I'm saying? Like and survived.
I absolutely agree, man. Absolutely agree. Mike actually now gets back to the Myers house, which is now occupied by two gentlemen, Little and Big John, who again we spend a little bit of time with these individuals, get to know them a little bit. But they are now in the Myers house, and they know that they know what this place is, and so even when things start getting weird and they think somebody might be in the house, there's kind of this little thought in the back of their head. They're like, could this be really serious? And then as soon as Big John goes down, Little John actually sees Michael, and he actually knows like this is it. You came home. He understands what this moment means. He understands the gravity of it all. He also understands he's about to die. So, unfortunately, they didn't make it. Charcuterie knife is not going to work out for you if somebody breaks into your house, unfortunately. But I love that this house is so iconic. Even just the staircase, it's so well known. We've seen this in numerous films. Even though it's updated, it's been flipped, but it's still the Myers house, and so
Mhm.
it's hits a little bit of nostalgia. That banister going up the stairs, those two rooms right there, like so many people gone in and out of those things, and yeah, poor John and Big John and Little John. Peoples, you got any thoughts about this kill here with these two gentlemen?
Uh, I mean, they died in a position that I mean, at least he set them up in a position where he knew they'd be happy. Like
And he played the song for them, like, he had
yeah,
good
he put on the music for him, bro. Like at least he respected them. He
yeah,
kept it. He gave them their dignity.
I mean, they
I
were
mean,
taking care of the house, it looks so nice, he was like,
hey,
y'all deserve a little bit of, some music and stuff like that, y'all did a
I,
good job with the
yeah, and I
crib."
think he got upset that they painted his room though. He didn't like that.
Absolutely,
He
absolutely.
walked in like, "What the? Come on, bro! Y'all covered up my spot. My boot print is gone." You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, I mean, I thought, I mean, they already knew what was up. The Little John didn't want to go. He clearly gave his life up for no reason. He didn't want to live without Big John, so he
Yeah.
stood there and died. Michael, you're home. You killed Big John. Go ahead, take me out, fella. I don't know what Big John thought he was gonna do with that little pocket picker knife, bro, that little toothpick, but
No idea, man, no idea.
but hey, no lie, how I mean, Michael's kills in this movie, like I said, he was just mad, bro. He was just
Yeah,
mad because he stuck his thumbs in his head so deep, like his eyeballs popped out, but he kept digging. Like, you gotta be upset, bro. Like, that dude had a vendetta, so and then he put one knife in the dude's neck and the other one in his gut. Like, he was just taking. He had some brutal kills in this movie, man. And but hey, they lived and they went out how they lived.
absolutely. No, what about you, man? You probably had some Easter eggs or something going on with
Yeah,
this
this
scene.
these guys are very important characters that a lot of people would just kind of breeze over. When they're originally introduced, and the little teenagers play that trick on them, and they end up going outside, and they said, "Don't you know that everybody that's uninvited in the Myers house gets killed?"
Ooh.
And it ends up being true as they kill the one guy with the skeleton mask, the one teenager with the skeleton mask. Um, they don't show that kill. That kill happened somewhere else
Yeah,
when,
screen.
um, and he has not been known to kill children. So, is there some truth to it? And then they go back in when we see him again. They're watching a movie. Big John's stirring some honey, and he's saying that bees instinctively know how to go home because of this dance or something. And mom used to collect bees before she died. Okay, well, who's your mother? Are you related to the Myers house? You can obviously tell that Big John is into kind of eclectic stuff. You can see it on the walls. There's a tree of life. He's taking his rings and jewelry off before he goes up. What is he into something? It leads you to believe more when you go into the scene where Big John's playing the records and Little John comes up to greet him. You see for sale signs in the corner with Little John's face on them, like for sale. And so you get, he's a realtor of some sort. And so the Strodes are realtors. They
Right.
were trying to sell the house. There's something to these guys that we don't know in this movie, but I'm sure we're going to find out in the next film. So a lot of people just breezed over these characters. I think it was an interesting choice with Little John, coming from Mad TV. I forget that actor's name, but he's more of like a comedic, kind of actor most of the time. And I don't know if that was a deliberate move, so maybe you wouldn't take him as seriously. But there's a lot more to these characters, these two particular characters, that we weren't really given too much insight into. They were just kind of forced into the storyline because they live at the Myers house, and just by chance they have Judith's room set up with her little nightstand and mirror there in the exact same spot. I mean, there's more to it. And then when Little John comes in, he says, "You came home." As you can see, that the night he came, or the night he came home. Yes,
Night he came
the night
home.
he came home. There's more to it, and they did not show his kill on screen as well. It's something you saw Michael go towards Little John, but they don't show his kill. They just show the scream. So there's definitely more to these two characters that we'll probably learn about in the next film. And they weren't like extremely brutalized or ripped apart. He placed them exactly like they were in this picture. I don't know if they're distant relatives. I don't know if they're going to go with an occult type of thing. But there's definitely more to these guys.
That'd be interesting to find out. Actually, if that's
Yeah, I
the
mean,
case.
I think they were just obsessed with Michael. I think they were just two guys who were obsessed with him, and kept track record on him, and even went as far as to buy the house that he stayed in.
And keep
I
and
think it was
keep
just an
Judith's
obsession.
room the same. Yeah, they're probably fanatics. People
Yeah.
true crime folks. That's probably what they were.
Hmm.
They probably had a podcast about true crime, and that's what they did on the side. We don't leave Michael there for too long alone. Lonnie kind of figures out that Michael's on his way back to his old place, his old stomping ground. So Lonnie takes Cameron, his son, and Allison, his son's girlfriend. I don't know why you do that in the first place, but take them all over to the Myers house to go see if Michael's there. And lo and behold, he's right. Cameron, we hear a couple of shots. He gets shoved in the attic. Sorry, not Cameron. Lonnie. Lonnie gets shot, pulls off a couple of shots, gets shoved in the attic. Cameron decides to go in after his dad, who had a gun and is no longer responding to his calls, and Allison follows suit. I don't know what teenagers are thinking. Like, there's been so many deaths, and you've been hearing about this character for 40 years. In Allison's case, like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do up against this guy, this monster? Just don't even think about it. Don't even consider it. But either way, they go into the house, and Cameron. It's kind of confusing. This is not one of those question marks for me. Cameron is his head is shoved between the poles of the banister, and he's getting like shoved around a lot. But I can't really tell like what's really happening to him. I know it's bad. It sounds really bad, but he just kind of looks like a pinball machine, like bouncing around in there. I don't know. You
Mhm.
guys have any questions about this scene? How they filmed it?
I mean, I think I don't know. He could have just been doing it just because he knew that that was homegirl's boyfriend, and he
It
just
was just
wanted to.
weird. It was
Hmm?
just weird how he was
Yeah,
kept shoving him between the banister, the little poles, and playing around with him so long until
yeah.
he completely twisted his neck. And I'm like, okay, you could have just done that from the get go, and that would have been just fine.
Like I said, I think he was doing that because the homegirl, like he was like, I like when she came out and tried to shoot him with the shot, because he was about to take him out. Like when
Yeah,
he seen his dad, he came charging her, bah bah bah, and then hemmed him up and stabbed him. He was about to take him out, but then homegirl came with the shotgun. He smacked her. Then he, my favorite part, don't lie, he smashed her head on that ball, and he
yeah,
looked like, hey, this the chick that burned me, bro. Threw her ass down the steps. Oh, this must be her boo thing. I'm gonna go ahead rough him up and then ace him out, bro. Cause he looked at her like, "Man, you cut my hand. Okay,
that's the
that's
one. That's
yeah.
her.
You was with that Lori woman. Okay, I'll be with you in a second. You know what I'm saying?" So I thought that was. I think that's how it went down. He realized who she was, and then he realized who. I mean, they both young teenager. Then I think he knew them. I mean, they were together in the first one also. So I
Right.
mean, Mike is smart. So he, after he realized like they must be a thing. I'm gonna make her watch while I rough this guy up, and then set his head right here in particular. So when I go down the steps,
Bam.
she, bam. You know what I'm saying?
Splat at that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he's. Like, I just thought that's how I think it went down. He
Gotcha.
wanted
Gotcha.
her to suffer.
No, this scene work for you, man?
Yeah, I like the scene. I thought it was pretty brutal. You could hear his back break, I guess, when he lifted him up and the top banister. I was
Hmm.
like, ooh, that was pretty rough. And then just, toying with him. He's still breathing as he's walking down the stairs before he breaks his neck. But yeah, just, it worked for me. I thought we were going to get a little bit of the classic, shadowing as he's walking down the stairs
Yeah, that'd
for
be cool.
in between, but we didn't get that. But interesting shot. I thought he held off, before killing, um, the daughter character. I forget her name, but
Allison.
yeah, Allison. Right before Karen stabs him with the pitchfork in the back. There was a little bit of a pause there. I don't know. It was just because okay, hey, you're the granddaughter of Laurie Strode. I'm gonna enjoy this, and I'm not gonna make it quick, or if there's something else going on. But Judy Greer stabbed with a pitchfork and then smash his head in the steps. I was like, ooh, that was pretty nice. And then taking his
Hmm.
mask off, and then just kind of going into the next scene, which was pretty intense. I thought it was
Really,
cool.
really intense. And it's the mask thing again. The only way to really get his attention. He's sort of like the T Rex, where he only sees movement, but in this case, he only sees people who have a mask, his mask, in their
Hmm.
hand. It's the only really way to kind of break his concentration. Because if not, little Allison would have been toast. Um, so yeah, Karen runs off. You're kind of wondering, like, hey, she was just with Tommy. What's going on? She must be setting him up for a trap. She learned from her mom, so I'll give Karen that. Karen figured out like you got to set him up. You can't just go one on one. So she knows a little bit what she's doing, right? They kind of corner him in the street. He gets surrounded by citizens of Haddonfield again, and he doesn't have his mask on, but he picks it up off the ground. And what I really loved about the sequence is this is when the music gets intense. It hadn't been really intense the whole movie. It The movie was sort of very toned down, I think, music wise throughout. But this is the moment where the big score from 2018 comes back, and he puts on his mask, and it's almost like you're rooting for Michael in a way because it's 1v like 20
Mhm.
right now, and he actually doesn't make it very. He doesn't last very long because he's getting just pummeled. And then little Karen, the mom Karen, stabs him in the back one time and leaves him after Tommy says, go ahead and take off. We got this. So at least he thought they did. Um, and then something that we really, I don't think, have seen in a Halloween film, but Michaels has always made his comeback in little ways here and there to kind of surprise people later on. But this was a direct like counter to everything and everyone. It's like an Arkham Knight or Arkham City game where Bruce Wayne is tackling on like a group of thugs in the streets of Gotham, and he's just pulling off maneuvers and stabbing people, cutting their Achilles, deflecting their gunshots and then hitting somebody else. Like it was really intense, borderline comical that he's actually pulling this off. But I'm a Myers fan, so I'm going with it. Noah, what do you think about this scene, man?
Yeah, I thought it was a good scene. It shows that he's really not a man. I
No,
mean, they can take all of that. The guy shot him like 4 times. He falls on the ground. He's immediately getting back up when they're pummeling him with all kinds of sorts. I think one lady had an iron. I thought that was kind of funny.
the
I don't
hell
know
was
if
that
you guys
about?
caught that one, but yeah, they're pummeling this guy. He seems to be down for the count because he's like kind of shaking as he's reaching for the knife before Karen stabs him the final time before she walks out. Um, and then for him just to like have like a second win and just yank the knife, throw it into Sheriff Brackett, and then just basically take on each of them one by one by one. And
Every time.
you're thinking this bat is going to have some special powers because
Uh,
they've been focusing on it, periodically throughout the film, but it's just a bat. It
Just
does nothing. And then the guy at the end, Tommy Wallace, ends up getting easy work from the bat. Um, pretty brutal, but yeah, it was pretty intense scene. Uh, it really kind of solidifies it that he may be a man, but there's something else that's at play here that we're not privy to yet, but I'm sure we will be soon. Um, because I think in the background, as he's getting pummeled, it's kind of doing flashbacks to Lori and the sheriff in the hospital, and they're kind of reiterating like he's not a man, he's evil. The more that you beat him, the more people he kills. Like almost like the stronger he gets.
yeah.
They were trying to drop those like subtle undertones, but not
They're
really
really,
subtle.
really hyping him up. They're like the hype team for Myers. And I'm like, if you only knew how right you were at this very moment. But yeah,
mhm.
pretty insane.
What
What
I
about you?
find interesting is they said that if we only knew what we know now,
Right.
so what do they know now that is going to change the game? Say if it's next Halloween or tomorrow, they're gonna do whatever they've discovered or whatever they think that they're gonna do to kill this guy.
And there needs to be a payoff. You can't keep Laurie Strode and now Officer Hawkins, who we thought might have, you know, bit it in the first movie. You can't keep them out of the final scene, the final act, and then not have a payoff with this I don't know what you want to call it, just this banter between the two of them about how to sort of take on Michael. So there needs to be a huge payoff in that regard. If there's not, it's going to be a missed opportunity for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if not, it's gonna end on a bad note.
Absolutely. What do you think about this Bruce Wayne Batman fight scene that Michael pulled off at the end?
I mean, I, I mean, it's kind of like in the beginning.
Yeah.
with the firefighters, everybody just going up one by one. It's like, have y'all not learned? Like this guy's a mass killer. Like
Mhm.
like this guy clearly can't be taken out by just a bat or a iron, and clearly, a couple of shots from a gun. Like everybody just, and they was doing well when everybody was hitting this guy.
Yeah.
Everybody at once. He stayed down. He went down. He was hurting. But then all of a sudden they just decided to do one by one. But you know, I, in the first one, what was her name? What was Laurie Strode's daughter name?
Karen.
Karen. Karen annoyed me so bad in the first one. Because she was just so resilient and believing what her mom was telling all these years. Mom, you crazy, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And then next her husband died. And mom, you was right. She just really pissed me off. But in the end of the first one, she like it was like the one thing she said, it made up for that whole movie. And she was sitting in the basement crying, Mom, I can't do it. I'm not strong as you thought I was. And then
So good.
Michael steps in front of the steps and she was just like, gotcha. Shot right in the and like right there, I don't know why it was, but man, I was like, hey, this woman is this shit. Like, because she faked him so bad, you know what I'm saying? She did this reverse psychology on my man,
Yep.
where he thought she was weak and vulnerable. All right, so he going to get her. And then she did the same thing in this one, like, I'm here, Mikey. You want me? Come and get me. It's the same, like, I'm your sister, innocent, blah, blah,
Like your
blah.
sister. Yep.
Made
Yep.
him chase her, and what she say? Gotcha. And I was like, hey, that's badass, just like in the last one, like the, but so I love that. But also, like, like that, it just, like they said, like, the more he kills, the more he ascends,
Yeah.
and like the more fear as well, because they were saying like how the fear as well, you
Hmm.
know, maybe he gets power from the more he kills, the more life he take, the more inhuman he become, more demonic, and who knows, like it could be when they said only if we know now what we knew then, or vice versa. I mean, it could be the fact that they know that maybe his mask has the power that they need to do something with this mask. Like maybe the power is in the mask. How they talk about, the demons and like when it comes to like certain type of relics and items and whatnot. Maybe
Yeah.
that mask has something to do with, his story. And he believed that, this mask is, I don't know, does something to him. So, I think that what he did, I don't know. I liked it. At the how it ended. I like the camera angle, the shots that he did, how he was taking people out. And I like the ironic death on Tommy, how he believes so much in his bet. I'm gonna take his head off, and next he got his head taken off with that old huckleberry. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it bashed it too. And so, I just, it was. I don't know where he got that, like you said, extra wind from. I don't know where it came from, but it came from somewhere. I don't even know, because I think that knife to the back of his spinal cord, right behind his head, I think that should have did it. When I seen that knife going, I was like, "Yo, that's it. My man's out of there." You know what I'm saying? Whoever take a knife to that spot right there, gotta be done. You know what I'm saying?
They thought that too.
Right.
If if I'm Tommy Doyle and I know the story of what happened 40 years ago, like every single detail, I'm not leaving him lying on the ground
Mhm.
to like possibly come back for another attack. Like I'm using this bat and I'm bashing that head in, or I'm taking a leg off, or anybody got any zip ties? Let's tie this fool up. Like
Right.
do,
Something.
do something. Somebody hit him with a car. Put a car on top of him, and just wait for the cops. Light him on
Yeah.
fire. Light the dude on fire.
Take
Do
his mask.
anything, right? Anything other than like, hey, let's leave him there. I think he's done. We we shot him 5 times and stabbed him in the back and beat him up. So that should have been it. Um, yeah, crazy, crazy ending. Never would have saw that coming. Didn't think it was going to be an ending like that. And then poor Karen, she figures this is the second time she's killed him, right? And for whatever reason, She got called up into that window, and he took her time. Sorry, he took his time with her a little bit. Uh,
Hmm.
she got cut probably a few dozen times and did not make it out. At least we think.
I think
I
she's still
Yeah,
alive.
I
she
was
could
just
be,
I was just about to say we thought Hawkins was dead at the end of the first one, so this could be another Hawkins situation.
but at
Although,
the same. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
no, I'm gonna say what you're gonna say. I think she's tried to kill him twice, took his mask, like he's pissed off, and I don't think he was gonna hold back
Yeah,
on making sure she didn't survive that night.
and it's Michael. Who does he leave alive? Who has this guy in the whole franchise left alive that he's actually had his hands on and stabbed? Nobody. I mean, give or take Lori, but that's a given, that's a
Yep,
given because she was always, the main character survived all the way up to this point. Also, if you realize that was just how he killed his sister
that's
in
true.
six and 78.
I think it
Exactly how he killed his sister. And so I think he's gonna do something with her body. He's not just gonna leave with her. He's gonna do just like he did the sheriff what's the sheriff's daughter? Nah,
Uh,
not this
you're talking
um
about Beckett's daughter.
in the first one
Yeah,
where he put lay homegirl on the bed and put his sister tombstone right there.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's gonna do something like, something like that because he killed her exact same way in the same room. You know, I think he's in like like you said, he tried to kill her twice, and that's his niece.
Pretty much.
They try to do something with the niece in
Well,
2 and 3. I mean 3 and 4. Yeah, I don't know how I felt about that. His niece pregnant and his baby and all that nonsense, but
Halloween.
that's why 6 is the worst in my opinion because of that just that whole subplot of impregnating Jamie. It's like, what are you thinking? What?
it was
What
like
is
how and like did they just have his
why?
semen somewhere frozen?
I'm like, no, this is trash.
Yeah,
Y'all did what?
truly.
Y'all did what to Jamie? Little Jamie? Oh, hell no.
Right, how he killed her was messed up, bro.
Hey, that's a good segue into this next topic. I'm gonna try and cut this short because I know we've been talking a long time, and I said we weren't gonna do that, but we did. Yeah. So what? I already forgot now. Where do we go from here? Something that you guys may or may not have heard is where Halloween Ends is gonna start out. So I read an article just the other day. The producers and the writers of the Halloween Ends came out and said, almost jokingly in this article, said that first thing we're going to do, have a time jump. So I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but Halloween Ends, if they're not bullshitting us, is going to take place 40 years after this movie. So I don't know what you need to wait for 4 years to pass. Maybe for Hawkins and Laurie Strode to heal up, maybe, set their next trap, if you will. But Halloween Ends is going to take place in 4 years, and it's peculiar that 1 year I can understand. 4 years is curious. I wonder why that would be the case, but nonetheless, that's what they're talking about. So prepare for uh, a time jump, and maybe it's for Michael to heal up. The dude's
I
been
was just
shot,
gonna say that.
stabbed, beat up. Maybe it's for him to heal up and for whatever reason. But yeah, Halloween Ends is going to take a major time jump and go on from there. So we don't even know what kind of mental space Lori and Hawkins are going to be in 4 years with the potential death of Karen, especially. So that'll be
Yeah,
really interesting to find out. You guys have any more thoughts on that?
I think you know, I mean, because this guy's like superhuman, and I mean, he takes shots and beatings, and he just gets up and walk away. I
Yep.
don't think the healing is for him necessarily. Like I say, he's an intelligent guy, highly intelligent. I
Yeah.
think that he's going to use his opportunity to get back to where, nobody believes he's alive. You know, he's going to let Lori dwell on the fact that her daughter's dead, you know, and he's gonna, just he gonna wait till they get back to where the city or the neighborhood, if you will, believes that he's just, a boogeyman, a ghost story again,
A
where
myth.
he
Yeah.
can where he can go back into the shadows and do his thing without having to be, hunted by the citizens, if you will. I
Sure.
think that's what he's waiting on. So he's gonna come back in 4 years on that October 31st, and then get back to doing his thing, you know, in the shadows again.
There you go. What about you, Noah? What are your thoughts about that?
I have not heard that story, but it's interesting. What is he doing in this 4 years? It's kind of like he's got to eat, he's got to find shelter. Is he eating dogs? There's a lot left to the imagination for Michael Myers to be on the lam for 4 years. So yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't heard that. I thought it was going to continue basically from here, and maybe do a little bit more flashbacks, give a little bit more insight as to what makes Michael Michael. Um, John Carpenter said several times that he never referred to him as Michael Myers. It was always the shape. It was the shape. So like he's not a man.
Hmm.
What is he? So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting that they're going to do a time jump 4 years. Curious to see how that's going to go.
Yeah. Very peculiar. It again doesn't translate. I mean, we haven't really had a film that purposely did that. Maybe accidentally, just because of production starting up again after 10 years or so, but never intentional to plan a timeline out like that. So, very curious why they would do so. We'll see what happens. This is the part of the show where we actually rate the movies. Rating scales 1 to 5, 5 being the original Halloween in '78, 1 being Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, the one that shouldn't have happened, but it did. Uh, that's just my opinion, though. So I want to hear from you guys. Noah, let's start with you, man. What is your Geekcast rating for Halloween Kills?
I'm gonna go with the 4. It wasn't kind of a knock it out of the park. It left a little bit to be, had or a little bit. I wanted a little bit more out of it, but I understand that it's a middle film in a
Yeah,
trilogy. So I'd stick with a 4, in my opinion.
awesome, awesome. Peoples, what about you, man?
I also give it a 4. I mean, with a 4 actually being high, because and the only reason, you know, I didn't go with a 5 or 4.5 only is because they just, for one, the one they try to force in her with this other, you
The other
know,
page.
yeah, this other patient guy. I just wasn't a fan of that, and that really, just like I said, left a bad taste in my mouth. Like and just some of the I understand you have to have dumb people in the movie, but that that black couple really made me mad, Joe. You know, it's like
Absolutely.
y'all that dumb. Like I can't, So, but it's just the fact that like I love the movie. I love Michael Myers. I love Halloween. And for me, like if I were to rate them all like in order,
Yep.
78 would be number one, of course.
Hmm.
Then No Lie. I mean, the night after that one, I, I did like it, but can't say it's my favorite. So I'm gonna have to go with Halloween H2O. That's my
Ooh,
second favorite. I love that one. And then I go with 18. You know, then part two, and then this one.
gotcha.
If I had
Those
to
were
pick five,
those were like top 5, right?
yeah, because Resurrection, I wouldn't. I just, it's just I don't know.
Nah.
Mm. I
Wouldn't
mean, it
feel
was
that.
cool. It's cool to watch, but it's not in my ratings.
Gotcha, I gotcha. And I'm actually gonna piggyback off you guys. You guys actually read my mind. This one's a 4 in my opinion as well. I actually gave the 2018 one a 4.5. I thought it was a solid film, a solid sequel to the first one. I thought the 2018 was well thought out. I think it was innovative. I
Mhm,
actually feel like this one took a step back in that regard. One of my favorite scenes was the motion sensor lights in the 2018 film, where
Uh-huh.
like homeboy's moving in the shadows. Like the
mhm,
motion sensor can't even catch him. He's moving so slow but quick. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, I've never seen that in a movie. That was pretty innovative.
mhm.
Not a whole lot of innovation in this one, in that regards. And I kind of want them to give us some things that we haven't seen before, because this is a lot of things that we have seen before, especially in the Halloween franchise. Not hating it, I'm just saying there's room for improvement, and I hope that they get back to a solid ending in Halloween ends. Um, yeah, strange. So I talked about the things that I question marks on already. Also strange in general that Laurie Strode is nowhere near the ending of this movie. She doesn't have a lot to do. If you would have told me that before going into this, I would have been like, "Nah, you're crazy." Uh,
Mhm.
Jamie Lee Curtis is gonna have a lot to do in this film, and she really doesn't. So it's gonna be curious to see how the next one pans out. I'm glad they brought back Hawkins though. He's a fantastic actor, and yeah, can't wait to see where they go from here.
I think they did it intentionally with the previews too, because in the preview, the trailers, all Laurie Strode, like she gonna be the main one,
Right?
right? And they lied to us, bamboozled.
Right.
Bamboozle.
But I think they took out the daughter. I think they took out the daughter in this one, to give Laurie Strode more of that drive to get back into it, like
Yeah,
because she didn't have really drive except but to, you know, we must stop him, I gotta give my life in order to stop him. Like we gotta kill each other type of thing. And her daughter was of course interception, intercepting her, part of the film. Like, mom, stay in the hospital, blah blah blah. So now that she's out the picture, it gives Laurie Strode more drive to kill this guy. You took my daughter, you took my husband, you took everything. I have nothing left. Like, or not her husband, but I thought she took her little fling or whatever she had going on.
yeah,
But yeah, like I think he's gonna give her that drive, which is another why 4 years goes by. Give Lori time to heal, and she's gonna be angry, and this is where she really goes at him because she ain't really lose nothing before this, right? If you
um,
don't include, because I mean, clearly they didn't include they. This is not going off H2O and all that. She didn't
right.
have no son, and all that. She has a daughter instead.
Mr.
She
Fred.
Yeah, she lost her like best friend in '78,
Yeah. So, and
and
which is, I mean,
um,
that was 51 years ago. So I
yeah,
doubt she really hanging on to that still.
something that we actually talked about earlier, and I totally forgot it because of my camera issues. But I'll try to get this through quick. You mentioned earlier that Michael, he might be taking it easy on the granddaughter or the mom because that's kind of his niece. We actually don't know that.
Sort of.
Um, Halloween 2 has been kind of erased from canon. We still don't know if they have a any sort of family relationship between Laurie Strode and Michael. That's never been a thing in this current timeline. Are they
Mm,
saving it? Are they saving it for the final one to kind of have this big reveal? Is there a way to pay it off where the audience would be surprised? I don't That's a huge challenge to try and to take that on.
you
So
know,
maybe they just erased it completely and they're not really going to go back and visit that potential subplot.
yeah, and like, I mean, because I watched this whole breakdown, history of Michael Myers and all that. So before it goes into before they give you this idea of them being siblings, saying that Laurie Strode was born in this time. At first they were saying how Michael was at home. Nobody
Mhm.
knew it was just a vacant. But then in the first, if you remember, she had to drop off the key
Right.
because her pop was trying to sell it. And
Right.
so supposedly that's where he became obsessed with her. He was like, because, he stepped on the porch, this whole, you're not invited, you know what I'm saying? So they went off that to where he just started stalking her. So he killed her, and then killed her friends, people close to her, and then went after her. And I think they gonna make it his obsession to get her because nobody's ever survived this guy. This woman really put up a fight. So
The
now
one that got away.
yeah, the one that got now he just obsessed with getting this woman because she seems to keep escaping. You know,
Will they try to make it so that Lori is in a weird way a love interest or obsession? Not like he's trying to take her out and date, but like
yeah, just
he,
an obsession.
like you said, he's obsessed with her.
Mm,
But there is like a unusual attraction, and will that be something they try and incorporate? That would be interesting,
mm,
especially since we find out Lori and Hawkins had a thing way back
mm.
when. Whatever.
Yeah,
Why throw that in
she
there?
was.
Because that was random as
Yeah,
I
we're
know,
good.
right, bro? Because
AF.
which I thought was, it just gave me another nostalgic moment, because they referenced the first one where,
Yeah.
she was into I forget the dude name, but remember her and her friend was kept on she like
Ben
I'm gonna
Tramer.
call him and
Yeah.
tell him what was his name?
Ben Tramer.
Yeah, Trayman, bro. And like I thought that was great. I actually thought that was great to hear that name. I was like, "What? They brought Ben Trayman here, and like, like that was her crush back in the high school." And I thought that was awesome, bro. It
Yeah.
really touched me right here. That was one of the moments where I was like, "God damn, that's awesome, bro."
I
So,
got I got one last question for you, gentlemen, and it's something that I wanted to kind of keep secret until the end. So I want to see which one of y'all get closer. I spent the time going through and trying to approximate how many deaths were caused by Michael in this movie, and we've already talked about there's a lot of off-screen deaths in this movie. I did my absolute best to count people in the shots and figured like there's a bunch of people that died off screen because he didn't leave any witnesses or anybody alive in anything, right? So, my question for both of you gentlemen, I'm going to see who's going to get closer. How many actual murders does Michael commit in Halloween Kills? No, take your best guess, man.
32.
Peoples, what you got, man?
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at like, I was looking at like 68 to 70.
Oh, damn, man.
Like
All right.
taking some people out, bro. Like,
It was a lot, and I'm probably gonna go on a limb and say this is probably the most kills in any Halloween movie he's ever
yeah,
done. But I counted approximately again 40 deaths in this movie. I counted I think 11 fighter fighters in the opening sequence. I counted
okay,
I think 8 18 individuals when he kills the Haddonfield townspeople. We don't see all the 18 go down, but I'm sure he didn't leave anybody lying around. So, yeah, 40 deaths, definitely probably one of the bigger or the most kills by Michael Myers in any film.
I think he now outranks Jason Voorhees for the
I'm,
most kills.
I'm pretty sure. I would also debate that in the 78 film when he lights the institution on fire. Like, there's probably a bunch of dead people in that building too that we'll never know about. So the number's probably way higher.
yeah, no lie.
Mm,
And when it comes to Jason, like, I mean, his movie's okay, whatever, but his
yeah,
his he just doesn't have a story for me.
yeah.
I watch the movies, you know what I'm saying? I like them, whatever, but it doesn't have a story, and I'm a man of a story. I need a good storyline, and that
Absolutely.
doesn't do it for me. He just kills whoever goes to Camp Crystal, like, and what's
Stay
the
with me
story?
like that.
Yeah, like what's the story in it? Like it doesn't give you anything except
You can't
you go to
cancel work.
Crystal, right?
And
You
I'm
go to
telling
Crystal Lake,
you.
and if you dropping panties out there, you gonna die because he doesn't like sex. You're like,
Or if
he
you're in
hates it.
Manhattan, or if you're in space in the future, like, that
Yeah,
all happens
like,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I don't talk about Jason X ever
Jason
except
X.
for the worst horror movie
Trash. Oh
man.
my goodness, such
Dude,
trash. Yo.
that's a comedy. That's an actual comedy. Like, seriously.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All
Delete it.
right, gentlemen. I think we've talked this one through and through. Appreciate you guys spending the time with me and going through this. Actually, being a great conversation, a lot longer than I anticipated. So, again, appreciate you guys joining me. And if you're watching this video, we want to hear from you guys. What did you think about Halloween Kills? Let us know your thoughts about the film. Even give us your own rating, 1 to 5. 5 being Halloween '78, 1 being Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, or Resurrection. Just take your pick of either one. But yeah, I appreciate you gentlemen being on with me. Again, for the Geekcast, my name is Steady. With me on this Halloween Kills review episode is Nathaniel Peoples.
And if you haven't watched any of the Michael Myers, highly suggest that you do watch the Halloween movies. You won't be disappointed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And making his first guest appearance on the Geekcast, it's Noah. Appreciate you joining us, man.
Thanks for having me, Ted. Big fan of Halloween. Definitely check it out, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good night.